Hi, I am Ivan Shubin, developer of Galen Framework, and I'm pretty excited to show you how to test responsive web apps with this tool. Galen Framework is a tool that has a special syntax and it is used for layout testing of web applications. It's suitable for responsive web pages, and in this video I will show you how to do it. Let's write a basic test for just the header of the official Galen Framework website. So here what we have is we have a logo, we have a caption, we have a Twitter button, and we also have a header. But the header is a bit tricky because it actually contains of two objects. As you see, this website this page is actually centered in the screen, so we have to define two objects for a header. And we're gonna do it like this. First we're gonna do this one. It has an ID header, so first thing we have to do is create a homepage.spec. That's a file where we're gonna write down all the specifications for our homepage. And first thing we have to do here is create a object definition in this place. So we're gonna create a header container. And here we have to specify the selector, and we say that we're gonna look for it by ID. Next thing, we're going to locate this object, div class wrapper. So it's gonna be a header by CSS header wrapper. Actually, Galen Framework allows you to use also XPath expressions, but I would recommend to avoid them. Only use them in special occasions when ID and CSS is simply not enough to express the selector. So let's do the logo. Now logo is an image inside a link. CSS header a image. Caption, it's a span element, and now a Twitter button, which is this element, Twitter header button. So let's do it like this: Twitter button by ID. So what happens on the page when we change the browser size? What you see here, that the Twitter button jumps to the top, and when it's a mobile version, the header changes the caption and it changes the text to just a Galen instead of Galen Framework. So let's try to explain that in our homepage.spec file. The first thing we have to do is to create a text. We're going to use the three tags. All, mobile, and desktop, and tag all is quite handy, so we don't need to copy paste all the same checks for desktop and mobile versions, because of course they're gonna look similar. So let's first do it for all devices, and now I'm going to declare the objects and the specifications of how they should look like on the page. So the header container is located inside screen 0 pixels top. That means that we say that header container is inside screen. So Galen Framework will actually check if that's completely inside, and then we declare the edge to which this thing should be aligned. And here we say that it should have 0 pixels margin from top. Next thing we're going to say it has a width of 100% of screen width. So here we actually explain that it stretches to complete width of the browser, where actually screen is a special object that we don't need to introduce, so Galen understands that. Next thing, it's a height of 103 pixels. I actually already know that it's 103 pixels. And now we're going to proceed to the next object, it's a header. So here we're going to explain this tricky thing with being centered on a page. I'm going to say that it is centered horizontally inside header container. And what Galen will do, it will actually take this header element and it will check that the margin from the left inside that container and from the right should be the same. Then we will explain that it has a margin, so it's inside header container by 20 pixels from top, and its width should not be bigger than 1000 pixels, so we'll say less than 1001. Next thing, we're going to test logo. Logo is located inside header, 0 pixels top left. So here it looks actually quite expressive. We say it's kind of like in top left corner. That's the power of the Galen specs language. Now we're going to explain its width, 68 pixels, and height, 68 pixels. Next thing, we are going to test that the caption is located in a header, inside a header, and it's near the logo button to the right. So we're going to do it like this. Caption inside header, 0 pixels top, and it's near logo element, 12 pixels to the right. So it's from the right side of the logo. And now the Twitter button. It has a width of 194 pixels, the height of 32 pixels, and this is basically enough for all devices. So now we're going to test the desktop version, where we shall explain the differences on desktop version. So it's caption element as a text is Galen Framework, and the Twitter button is located inside screen. Let's see, inside screen. So it's like around 40 pixels and 20 pixels from the right. Screen 40 pixels top, 20 pixels right. And now let's explain how it should look on mobile. And on mobile, that is a bit different, so the caption changes to just Galen. Text is Galen. And the Twitter button jumps to the top. So Twitter button inside screen, 7 pixels top. Actually, I know it's not 7 pixels, but in the end we want to see how it fails, so I can show you screenshots. Okay, so that's done. Now, since we have our homepage spec, we can test that in a single command, but I'm not going to show that because it's actually much prettier to do it with a test suite. Introduction, test. And there Galen also has a special syntax. What we are going to do is set a variable domain. Well, it's not really needed here, but it's quite useful to declare that on top if you have a lot of tests in your test suite. Then we're going to create a table called devices. That's going to be used for parameterization of our test. For now, we're only going to use 2 devices, so then it's not that important to test it on tablet for the moment for this video. What I'm doing here, I'm declaring a header for table, and these will be the names of the variables in our parameterized test. So now we shall define a mobile, and the text should be all mobile. So this means that Here we define which text should be picked up from the homepage spec. So it will not actually pick up the desktop tagged specifications, but only the all and mobile. And now we're going to declare the size of the browser. Now next, desktop, all desktop, and the size is 1024,768. Okay, done. We are done with the table. So now let's parameterize the test. Parameterized. Here I'm declaring that next test should be parameterized using devices table. And now I can declare the name of our test. Device. Next thing I'm going to do is declare the URL, which will be loaded in the browser. We're going to reuse the variable from the beginning of this file. And we're going to say which size it's going to be. So device and size will be picked up from the devices table because it's going to be parameterized. Next thing, I'm declaring the action, and here I'm going to do checking the homepage spec, and here I'm going to declare which text should be picked up. So we're done now. Let's try to run it. Test, action test, reports. So now, as Galen Framework uses the Selenium to open the Firefox, it loads the defined URL, and here you see it has quickly checked all the elements, location of all elements, and we have a failure. Now we going to see the reports. Here it has created the reports folder. Report HTML. So this is the report overview. Here you see one failure for the home page on mobile device. That's the name we gave in the beginning. And here you see all the sections that we've been using. So for all and for mobile. So here's the failing spec. Twitter button inside screen 7 pixels top, 10 pixels right. So it's actually not true. Galen says the Twitter button is 2 pixels top instead of 7 pixels, and is 20 pixels right instead of 10 pixels. Let's take a look on the screenshot. You see it highlights the screen, and it highlights the Twitter button. So here we see, yeah, it's definitely not 7 pixels from top. Let's declare that margin. Let's fix that. So it's for mobile. 2 pixels, and what was it? 20 pixels right. Cool. Now we can run it again. So now it again opens the browser, stretches it to the defined size, checks it, no failures, and now desktop, done. Status pass. So this is how to do the basic layout test using the Galen framework. As you see, it's quite easy to read. It has quite a human-readable syntax, and it's easy to set up it for different devices. You can use your own. Text if you want. You can even use like iPhone or Samsung, whatever. But I would prefer to just declare, not stick to real devices, but just declare your own constraints. Like I did, all mobile, desktop, tablet, small tablet, big tablet, whatever you like. And so check out the galenframework.com. It has quite a lot of documentation. Just for documentations, go here to docs, and you have a complete reference for the Galen spec language and for the test suite syntax. For spec language guide, you have you just scroll down, you see it's a lot of text here, it's a lot of documents. Here you have a lot of different specs. I used only a few of them, like width, height, centered, and inside. But you can also check the rest. If you go for inside, here it has sketches, and it explains how it sees the elements, how it tests them, and how to express using the Galen specs language. Also, you can check out the test suite syntax guide. Here it explains how to do variables, how to do parameterization, how to do JavaScript injections, cookie handling, and a lot of other things. So basically this is it. If you find this still interesting, or if you find any problems with it, or if you have some proposals for improvement, you can also check out the GitHub page for this project, as it's open sourced. Feel free to fork it and send me your pull request if you find it interesting, or also check out the galenframework.com website and leave your feedback here. Thanks for watching.